Recently, I did a little Persona 3 stream, which you can find a link to that in the description below. And in the stream, I told my name's origin story. I was just going to clip that and call it good enough, but unfortunately, after checking the footage, it seems my avatar wasn't moving correctly. So, here I am, recording a new version. The original version's in the stream early on if you want to check it out. I don't plan to change much, just streamline it and make it look a little better. So the story will date me a little bit, and that's fine. I might not have really known about the Persona series back when Persona 3 was coming out, but by the time Fez was coming out, I was already becoming a Shin Megami Tensei fan, an Atlus fan in general, and I was there day one for Persona 3 Fez. I've always been into RPGs, and Persona 3 will always have a special place in my heart. And, well, that's partially because it's where Haru Zulux comes from. Imagine anyone who's played the game before can take a guess where this is going, but I think I'll just swap my background and get started. So, I actually use Haru as a non-binary name in general. It's not some name I just use as a VTuber, but a name I've been using long before that. I didn't have to obtain the name for stuff when I started VTubing, I already had it. Something unique about Persona 3 compared to most RPGs, at least at the time, is that it requires to give your name a first and last name. It also doesn't give you any recommended name for the main character. Well, they do have one for all the characters, they just don't ever include them in the game for some reason. Also, I'm just going to get this out of the way right away. My hairstyle being so similar to the main character over there, that's just a coincidence. I'd forgotten his hair was similar to how he designed mine. I didn't design my model after his. Anyway, back when I was starting Persona 3, I went by the online handle of Zulux instead. There's a whole other origin story for that, and I imagine it's not really what you're guessing it is, as it's actually a Dragon Ball Z thing. But that's a story that can save for another day. Funny thing is, I always felt it was a crappy name for a character, but it was fine enough for a last name. So I was willing to use that for the last name in Persona 3, but even in other RPGs, I never really went around to Zulux. I tended just to land on whatever they recommended. Thus, I didn't really have a character name I went with. And I got to this screen, and Persona 3 was forcing me to, make something for it, and for some reason I felt like that would actually matter. Well, at the same time I was playing D&D with my friends, and I was playing a character that was still dear to my heart now. And, well, I actually don't remember her real name. You might be wondering, how can I forget the name of a character dear to my heart? Well, that's because she ran around with so many fake IDs, I don't actually remember which one, if any, were her real one. I want to say her real name was actually Haruka no Izumi, but they made it bait in just the name she introduced herself to the party with. She also went by Haruhi, Hanako, Harukano, and Haru, among many others. And always had a ha at the start, and usually had a Haru in it, which naturally led my party members to just calling me Haru, as I'd be constantly changing my name depending on which town we were in. Well, as I sat down starting to try to think what name I should give my character in Persona 3, it suddenly dawned on me, why not just go with Haru? It didn't feel wrong. Sure, my D&D character was a, woman, and this character was a man, but it still felt right. And while I'd strictly use it, between genders like that, nothing felt wrong. So yeah, I just went with it. I later learned two amusing facts about the name. The first one is that my gut assumption wasn't wrong. Haru is, in fact, both used as a boys' and girls' name in Japan, though it does seem a bit more common for girls. There is a decent list of anime characters that are named Haru, or at least have it as part of their name, and end up being nicknamed Haru. The second fact I learned is it's actually the word for spring in Japanese. I just so happen to have pretty bad spring allergies, and it's one of my least favorite seasons, but by the time I learned this, Persona 3 and my D&D character had already caused Haru to become my go-to RPG name and a name I was fond of, and I even eventually had adapted it to my writing and non-binary name by that point. So, yeah. But, yeah, I eventually named the character Haru Zulux, And the rest has been history for me for a long time. I ended up starting the game on the stream the same way I started it way back when Fez came out. And it's why I decided to do the stream when I needed to switch things up, because it felt like a good opportunity to tell a little bit of an origin about my name choice and why it's actually a pretty personal name for me. Anyway, hope that's a fun little insight into my name and why I've been using it all these years. Yeah. Don't think I have much more to say, so I hope you all just stay wonderful. And until next time.